chilling and having a good time.
Hi everyone, this is Brittany here from Just Be Crafty, and today I'm going to show you how to bake these super fun crochet Christmas trees. They are essentially a crochet cover you can slide onto paper mache cones. As always, you'll want to follow along with the written pattern as you watch the video to help with stitch and row counts. You can view the free pattern on my blog, or you can purchase the digital version to either print out or access offline if you so choose. Both versions will be linked below. While this pattern is beginner friendly, it assumes you already know the following skills: chaining, the magic ring, and double crochet. Once you have all those skills under your belt, I'm confident you can tackle this pattern. I have tutorials for all of those skills, so if you need a brush up, go ahead and watch those first and then come back to this pattern. To get started, here's what you'll need. Yarn, I'm using Loops and Threads Impeccable in the color Claret. It's a 100% acrylic number 4 medium weight yarn, and I do find this to be on the thinner side of the number 4 weight category. A 4.5mm hook, scissors, also fabric scissors if you have them, a yarn needle, paper mache cones. I got these ones off of Amazon, and in this tutorial we'll be making a cover for the smallest one of the set. Plaid ribbon, and baker's twine. We're going to start with the magic ring. Hold the tail in your hand and wrap it around from front to back around your pointer finger and make an X. Insert your hook into the ring on your finger. Draw up a loop. Chain 2. You've just made a magic ring, and we can now slide it off of our finger. This chain 2 for this round and for all remaining rounds is not going to count as a stitch. Into our magic ring, we are going to place 4 double crochets. So here's 1 and 2 3 and 4. We can now pull on our tail to cinch our magic ring closed. Get your tail out of the way. I'm pushing it towards the inside, so this tail will be on the inside of our tree cone. So push it down like so, and we're going to join into the first stitch of the round using a slip stitch. This is probably the most tricky part of this whole project, but if you're having a hard time finding that first stitch, just go ahead and count your stitches back from your hook. And so into that first stitch that we made, we're going to make a slip stitch to join the round. So slip stitch into there, and that's going to conclude round 1. Pull on your little tail to cinch the hole closed more if you need to, and we'll weave that end in soon. So now we're ready to begin round 2. To start round 2 is going to be an increase round, and we're going to begin with a chain 2. For this round, we're going to increase in every stitch around. So that means we're going to place 2 double crochets into each stitch. At the end of this round, we're going to have 8 stitches. We're almost to the end of round 2. All right, so we should have 8 double crochet stitches. We're going to end the round by joining with a slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. And that concludes round 2. We're now ready to begin round 3, so we will start with a chain 2. I'm now going to take this opportunity to turn our work wrong side out, and we're going to just get weaving in our end out of the way. So grab your yarn needle and thread it with that tail. Give the tail a nice little tug to make sure that magic ring is cinched tight, and we're going to weave in that end. So I'm just weaving it in, getting that end tangled into the stitches, just kind of going back and forth. Once you feel like your end's sufficiently weaved in, you can go ahead and grab your scissors and snip that tail off. Turn your work back right side out. We're ready to resume on round 3. So I already did that chain, the starting chain 2. So for this round, there are no increases. We're simply going to double crochet into each stitch around. At the end of this round, we should still have 8 double crochet stitches. We're going to end round 3 with a slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. Go ahead and give yourself a little recount to make sure you have 8 stitches. Slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That concludes round 3, and we're ready to begin round 4. So start with a chain 2, and this round is going to be another increase round. We're going to increase in every second stitch around. So in that first stitch, we're going to make 1 double crochet. And in the next stitch, we're going to place 2 double crochets. In the next stitch, we're going to make 1 double crochet. And in the next stitch, we're going to make 2 double crochets. At the end of this round, you should have 12 double crochet stitches. All right, I have 12 stitches. We're now ready to join with the first stitch of the round with a slip stitch. We're now ready to begin round 5, so we're going to start with a chain 2. And this round is not going to be an increase round. We're simply going to double crochet into each stitch around. At the end of this round, we should still have 12 double crochets. We're just finishing up round 5. We're going to finish off by joining with the first stitch of the round using a slip stitch. We're now ready to begin round 6. We're going to start with a chain 2, and we're going to increase in every third stitch. So for the first 2 stitches, we're going to make 1 double crochet in each of these stitches. So there's 1 and 1 double crochet in the second stitch. And in the third stitch, we're going to make 2 double crochets. We're going to double crochet into the next stitch. 1 double crochet into the stitch after that. And in the third stitch, we're going to make 2 more double crochets. So once again, for round 6, we're increasing in every third stitch around. At the end of this round, we should have 16 stitches. At the end of the round, we're going to join with the first stitch of the round using a slip stitch. For round 7, we're going to start with a chain 2, and this is not going to be an increase round. So we're only going to make 1 double crochet into each stitch around. At the end of this round, we should still have 16 stitches. And you're going to keep repeating this process of increasing every other round. On the increase rounds, we are increasing by 4 stitches. And as you've likely noticed, on each increase round, the spacing between the increases grows by 1 stitch each time. So for instance, our next increase round, round 8, we will be increasing every 4th stitch. And for round 10, it'll be every 5th stitch and so on. For this tree, which is the smallest tree, you will stop after round 18 and your stitch count should be 40 stitches. So if you'd like, pause here and meet back up with me once you've completed up through round 18. I've just completed round 18 and we can now try our cover over our smallest cone. And we've got a perfect fit. So for the larger sizes, you're going to just continue increasing in the same pattern until the piece covers your entire cone. The written pattern includes the exact round counts and stitch totals for each size, so definitely refer to that. But see, you will work in the same fashion for each size and basically just keep working until you cover your entire cone. Because we want this to fit our cone properly, we want to make sure to get gauge. So you're going to want to make sure that you're getting about 8 stitches per 2 inches. If you are getting more stitches per 2 inches, then you're going to want to size up your crochet hook. If you're getting less than 8 stitches per 2 inches, you're going to want to size down your crochet hook. So at the end of round 18, I joined with a slip stitch, but I'm going to just pull that last stitch out and redo it because I don't want to join the last stitch with a slip stitch. So I'm recrocheting that very last stitch of round 18. And we're just gonna pull our yarn tail through the stitch. Grab your yarn needle and we're going to do a duplicate stitch to do a seamless join at the end. So you're going to take your yarn needle and slide it through both of your loops on the first stitch of the round and pull through kind of the width. Want that to be the width of a stitch. Insert your needle back into that last stitch like so. And then pull to tighten a bit, but only pull to the right tension that makes that look like a stitch, and that will give you a really nice seamless join. We can now secure and weave in this end. I like to secure with a little knot. And then we'll go ahead and weave in the rest of this end. Like to just go back and forth in pretty much the same spot to really get that tail tangled. Once you feel like your end is sufficiently weaved in, you can take your scissors and snip it close to the project. It's now time to add our embellishments, so we're going to go ahead and pick our ribbon. And I think for today's tree, I'm going to go with the tartan, and we're going to make a really pretty triple bow. So we're going to measure out 32 inches. Take your fabric scissors if you have them and go ahead and cut your ribbon. And now we're ready to make our triple bow. So we're gonna wrap the yarn around our finger 3 times, like so. And then we're gonna wrap around our thumb and pointer finger. And the width of your thumb and pointer finger here is going to determine the width of your bow. So I like this width, and we're gonna wrap around our thumb and pointer finger 3 times. So there was 1, here's 2, and here's 3. We're now going to take that tail and wrap from back to front. And then we're going to slide that tail through that front loop we just created. Now pull that tail to tighten and pull it towards the back. We can now slide the bow off of our finger and we can now fluff it up. And if you made the crochet ornaments, then you've likely already made the double bow. So I thought a triple bow would be really pretty on these little Christmas trees. I'm now going to create the 2-point cuts on my ribbon to help with fraying. And it also looks super cute. So I'm going to do that on one side and then I'm going to do that on the other side. And to help a little more with fraying, I'm going to take some clear nail polish and I'm just going to press it into the ends. So on that raw edge of the double point for the ribbon, I'm just going to press in some clear nail polish. And that's just going to seal it so that it doesn't fray. So this is just a really great trick to help with fraying. And again, press it in, don't swipe it because swiping it will cause it to fray. So I found that dabbing it on worked best. Go ahead and set your bow aside and let those little ends dry. And we're now going to add a little bit of garland detail with our baker's twine. I'm just going to mock wrap this up with so that I can get about an idea of how long I want my baker's twine to be so I don't have to deal with the actual roll. That looks pretty good. I'm giving myself some slack. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that. And now we can attach our baker's twine to the tree. So grab the top end and thread your yarn needle. And I just like to attach it to the top with a bit of a knot. And then you're just going to want to pull the tail to the inside of the tree. And then just trim off the remainder of that tail. And now it's lost in the tree forever. So go ahead and rewrap your baker's twine nicely around your tree and make sure you get it just how you like it. Once you get it to your liking, grab your yarn needle, thread it with the other end of the baker's twine, and secure it to the bottom. And knot it to the inside. I like to weave it in a bit to get it away from the bottom or from the very bottom. So that way when I trim that tail, the little piece of baker's twine, the little end won't hang out. Attach your bow to the top of the tree by dabbing a little bit of hot glue, and there you have it. Easy crochet Christmas trees. I really hope you found today's tutorial helpful. If you did, please let me know by giving the video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already and would like to, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a new tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!